So we're gonna do another episode of looking what's currently occurring in Google search. And so what do I mean by that? Or like why would we want to do this? Is we just want to see what's currently going on in Google. What's currently ranking. Let's try to discover why it's ranking. What are people doing to their sites? What are people doing to their Google business profiles? What can we learn? What can we take away from their sites and their Google business profiles that we may want to consider applying to our own? And we also want to see kind of what SEO tactics are currently being applied in search and what can we learn from those. So I think for today, what keyword do we want to do? I'm thinking maybe like a CPA. Let's do CPA. So CPA, what state do we want to do? Let's do Denver, Colorado. All right, so for our first keyword that we're going to look at CPA Denver, Colorado. Now, for me, it is currently 10 a.m. Eastern Standard. And so because Denver is central, they are running an hour behind me. So something to consider is that this is going to have a material effect on what we are currently searching, right? Because as we can see, this one's closed, this one's open soon, and then this one is currently open. So these are going to change what is currently ranking in search. But for right now, it's not that big of an effect. And so we're still going to look at it. Something else to consider is that if you would like me to look over your Google business profile or your website live here and watch me go through it and talk to you about it, drop your Google business profile or your website URL link in the chat and I will take a look at it live with everyone else. You can also ask me some questions of like, hey, what do I think about this? What do you think about this, Chris? And I can do that. Okay. So first thing I see currently occurring is that these first two Google business profiles have the keyword in their name, which is great. This is always something that I recommend people do is to place the keyword that they're wanting to rank in their Google business profile name. Now, if you don't already have it, then what you can do is you can file a do business as with your state so that you can amend your company name so that you can get that keyword in the name. So then when you go to file the paperwork with Google and Google is asking for your corporation's documents, it will clearly illustrate, hey, we have a do business as, right? So first things first, we've got, this is Nelson and Company, which is interesting. Also notice how when we look at their primary categories, for these first two, they're certified public accountant. And then for this one, it's just a regular accountant. So I'm going to open view more businesses here on the next screen or URL or page. So what I'm looking at is I'm just looking at the business name. I'm looking at the primary category. I'm just a quick glance. How many years in business? The hours, are they open? We're also looking at the phone numbers, the first 3 digits for the area code. So we've got a 970 here, which is interesting. Everyone else is like 303. Just looking at the names, also looking to see, do they have directions? If they have directions, what this means is that they verified the address of their Google business profile. So what they had to do is they had to go through a process where they had to record a video, submit some documents of, hey, we're located at this area. Here's our signage. Here's the back end of our company and kind of how like we do operations. Whenever you're considering setting up your Google business profile, you're going to want to have that physically verified address. What is it? Service area based business. So when you set it as a service area based business on the profile, it is harder to rank the Google business profile for the keywords you're trying to target, right? So when you go to set yours up, you're going to go to edit profile. You're going to scroll all the way down and then right here, right? You're going to set your service area and you're also going to set your business location. So this Google business profile currently is a service area business. If I were to enable this, show business address to customers, and then I were to fill all of this out with my business location, then that would be what I would consider a physical location verified business, right? Or just very simply show business address to customers. And that's how we get these direction icons right here. So if I were to click these, let's like open in a new tab, Google will then take me to that business location. So what we're doing is we're just looking for CPAs in Denver, Colorado. If you have a website or a Google Business profile you'd like me to look at, please drop it in the chat. So this is interesting here. They don't have a link to their website. So here we go. Here's a service area based business. They don't have directions. And this is probably why there's other factors. I'm currently not in Colorado. I'm in Canada, Ottawa, Canada right now. But there are other factors, right? They're currently closed, which is important. They also have what I would consider a lower review count. But one thing that we're noticing is that they do not have a physical verified address, or they do not have the show business address to customers, right? Because I can't get directions, this is one way that we can know that's what's occurring. They've got a great rating, 4.9. They just don't have a verified address. Now, they may have a commercial location, right? They probably have somewhere where their clients can come to and they can offer their service, but they just haven't taken it upon themselves to go through that process. Or there's another situation where they're just unaware. They don't know that they need to verify their address, right? This happens pretty commonly. You just don't know what you don't know, right? So we're going to go back up to the top here, and we're just going to go and look, see what these, for my search, what these profiles are currently doing to rank this high. So this extension or this information on the right side here, if you want this as well displayed when you're looking at Google Business Profiles, what you're going to want to do is install the Chrome extension Pleper, P-L-E-P-E-R. This is going to give you a whole bunch more information when you are looking at Google Business Profiles. So for this profile, we can see their primary category and then all of their secondary categories. All of these secondary categories are great. They are all relevant to a CPA business. We got bookkeeping, we got business management consultant, we got tax prep, and then we got tax preparation. Interesting that it allowed them to put tax prep twice. Oh, tax prep service. Interesting. We got the link to their website, which is great. So one thing we can check real quick is when we go to their website. So on their Google Business Profile, they have it as a www domain name. But when we visit the site, what are we getting? Okay, so it's serving us www, which is great. We're just going to do a little quick check here, and we're going to look at their canonical tag. Oh, they don't have a canonical tag. That's interesting. I would definitely get a canonical tag. Either way. So we're going to go back to looking at their profile. They've got 75 services, which is great. A big thing to do when you're going up and setting your Google Business Profile, when you're listing your services, you don't just want to target the specific service or keyword that you're thinking of. You also want to include a lot of variations. These variations are going to help you pick up those search queries. So not everybody searches the same keyword that you search for, right? Everyone has a different search intent, or everyone has a different way of just searching for the service that they're looking for. So by having these different keywords and keyword variations on your services on your Google Business Profile, this is going to help you pick up those queries when people go to search for them, right? Another thing, we can't see it from this Chrome extension, but for each of these individual services, we want to make sure that we are putting descriptions on them. So after, and I'll show an example here on my Google Business Profile, after you list your services, you are then going to want to go back in, right? So looking at mine currently, I don't have descriptions. So you're going to want on your profile to go back in and add a description here So then we're going to go back to the Google Business Profile. We're just going to look at kind of what keywords are they targeting, what do they have on there. And something to note is the amount. They have 75, which to most would be considered a lot. And a lot of people are going to tell you that that's too much. But something you need to consider is that there's really no hard set rules on what you can get away with or what you should be doing. Like when you consider taking advice or what you read online, people will often have these rules that you have to abide by, or you are considered whatever adjective you want to use. But a lot of the times, an overwhelming majority of the times, you can go and search and find something that is contrary to their advice. Someone's going to say you can only put 25 services on your Google Business Profile. Here's a clear illustration, a clear example of they have 75. And for me, for currently right now, they're ranking number 1. So there's something else to consider. And we can see right here the thing I was talking about earlier with getting the keyword variations in your services on your profile. Look at all these different tax keyword variations that they've got, like plan, planners, planner, tax planning, and compliance. Just look at all these different variations that they've got on their page. So that's the first one. We're going to look at the second one here, just see kind of what they've got going on. So CPA, account, these are their categories. They only have 12 services listed. So they could definitely get those services up. They've got a UTM parameter for their website. So they're tracking the clicks. So we're going to visit the website. On this URL, they have the www version. Okay, so the website serves us the www version, which is great. But now we're just going to look at their canonical tag. An easy way to do this is when you go to your page, you're going to right-click View Page Source, then Control F, and then just type in canonical. And we can see here they are serving the www version. And also we can notice that they do not have the trailing slash, which is great. When we were looking at this other site, what I noticed was they don't even have the canonical tag. Okay, so that's the first and second position. Let's see what the third position's doing. So that is something big that they could do, is they could get photos of like the actual office. They could get photos of their team, right? It just helps rank the profile, and it's something that you already have, or if you don't already have, 30 minutes, an hour taking photos. You know, even like just a photo of your office, even if it is a little messy or what have you, right? Just something on there that shows, hey, we're a real business. I would get more of kind of like what to expect when we're walking inside the office, you know? Also, having high photo count does help with rankings. Okay, so then now we are going to look in the search results. We're going to see what web pages are currently ranking and maybe some things that we can take away. Right now, I'm just kind of looking at what's the meta description, what is the like title tag, what do we currently have going on in search. One thing I really want to note is that, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, that's because I'm in Canada searching. But when we look at all of these other URLs, these are all .com top level domains. You want a .com top level domain. That is going to help you rank. And especially as you get into more and more competitive environments, that is really going to help you. It's going to be a big distinction. And so something else you want to consider is that, so let's say you don't currently have a .com, right? Let's say you have one of these other top level domains. You can easily keep that website up and then have a brand new site with the top level of .com. The thing you want to make sure though is that you have clear distinction so that it is not considered like duplicate content. And there is a world in which both of those can rank for keywords, but it is more likely that the .com will, depending on how competitive the environment is. And then as you rank your .com, you then can slowly consider getting rid of your .io or whatever other top level domain that you picked. So let's look at this first site in the search results. So again, for anybody joining, what we're doing is we are searching keywords in Google. We're just seeing what's occurring on page. What is Google currently serving? What are on these pages when we go to view them? What is occurring, right? And when I say that, what I mean is what are current SEOs doing to these pages to help them rank? Is there anything that we can learn from them? Is there anything that we can take away from their pages? So in the first position, we've got this website. So they've got their www. I'm just looking over their brand image here. I'm hovering over it. I want to see what is the URL that is being served to me. And it is a non-www, which is great. Reason why I'm looking for that is you don't want to have a separation of what URLs are being served. What I mean by that is if you're going to pick www URL, so as an example, www.yourdomain.com, you're going to want to stay with that across your site. And so any internal links that you have linking to your other pages, you're going to want to make sure the URL structure is the same. Any external links, your social profiles on your Google Business Profile, any backlinks that you purchase, any press releases that you do, you're also going to want to have that same URL structure across. So we're just kind of looking at their page. How do they have it constructed? What is going to be their like H1, their H2? So CPA firm, Denver Tech Center. Okay. So that's their H1. We're just looking at what is currently happening on page. Okay, so they have their Google Business Profile embedded, and it looks like it is not actually okay. So this is a very common thing that I see occur is in the footer of your site, check to make sure this is actually linking to your business. This is a CPA firm, and in their footer currently, they have it linked to a coffee spot. This is not their business. And when Google comes by and crawls this page and sees that there's a Google asset linked to, right? Your Google Business Profile is a Google asset. When your website is linking to a different business, you're just confusing Google. You're also not getting this connection. You think that you're connecting your site to your Google Business Profile. Granted, you still have the website link on the profile, right? But on the site, you're linking to a coffee place. So just a quick little takeaway for everyone. Go on your site right now and click the Google Business Profile link or the embed that you have. Now, what I want to show you is how do we get the appropriate link? Okay, so we are going to take their name. We're going to open a new tab. We're going to do this. And we're going to add a geographic modifier just to make it easier. Okay, so we have their profile. We've typed in the business profile name. Now, because I am not anywhere near Denver, Colorado, I have to put a geographic modifier or just simply type in the city and state that I'm looking for this business. I'm going to go to Google Maps. So we see that it pulled up the correct Google Business Profile. I am then now going to click the share icon. I'm going to go to this tab, embed a map, and this is the code that I want to take and I want to place on my site. I'm going to copy this HTML, and then that is what I'm going to take over to my site, and that's what I'm going to embed. What are they actually on? They're on, okay, so go to my WordPress site and embed that. So again, what I'm doing here is I'm just hovering over all of their navigation links. I'm just seeing what is their URL structure. What are they doing? Okay. So this is review content. Let's see, how are they pulling this in? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight a little bit of this text. I'm going to right click view page source, Control F. I'm going to paste in the text. So it's a block quote. So this looks like it's static HTML, which is great. What I really don't want to see is a WordPress plugin that pulls in review data. What you much rather want is the review content to be statically displayed on your site. And a big reason for this is around an overwhelming majority of the time, Google is not going to have rendering enabled. So what does that mean? So because you're using certain plugins or you're using certain services or how you have the site constructed, like JavaScript frameworks, like React, what's occurring is when you go to the page, your browser, your computer is doing all the work to render the content. That means it's basically it's running the code that's necessary for the content to appear on your screen. For Google, Google goes and sees all of the code. It reads all the code line by line. So if you have certain portions of your site, let's say your review content, if your review content requires rendering, there are times when Google will come by without rendering enabled. So Google will come by and it will see the script that you are feeding it to use or to run to render the content, but it will not do that because what you have to consider is that costs time and money. Google has trillions of pages it has to go through to crawl to get the content on page. So the majority of the time when it comes by and it's crawling and it has rendering disabled, it's not going to see that content. That content's going to be blank. And what that means for you is, let's say that you have a page, it has a word count of 800, 300 of that is in your review carousel. A majority of the time, Google only sees that your page has 500 word count, which is pretty low on average. If you were to go and look at a lot of pages, that is a pretty low word count. So it's just going to think that the page is thin content. Now, the times that it does have rendering enabled and it comes by and it's like, oh, there's actual content here, it's only during that time does it see that content. So the fix is just have all the review content static, HTML. Stop using these plugins. Stop making Google do more work, right? We want to make our site as efficient for Google as possible, as cheap as possible for it to get the necessary information that it needs. Another thing that can occur is not only just the review content is hidden behind these JavaScript frameworks, right? What can also occur is that you have links. You have a certain styling, a certain JavaScript styling that is required to render to view links. So those links are blank a majority of the time to Google because it doesn't have rendering enabled the majority of the time. So their business services, we're going to go look at. Again, I'm just looking at their URL structure. I'm just looking at how do they currently have their site set up. Are they doing any directories, any folders? So it looks like everything is pretty horizontal structure. And what I mean by that is, from what I currently can see, is there's no folders or directories. Everything is just domain / This is something that I like a lot right here. So this anchor text is a keyword or a keyword variation that they're trying to target. Tax planning for a CPA. Makes sense, right? So this anchor text is tax planning and it is linking to their homepage, which is great. I like this a lot. So tax consulting and prep service. So again, the whole point of this is we're just seeing what is currently ranking in Google, right? So we searched the keyword CPA Denver, Colorado. We're looking at the top website and we're seeing what are they currently doing to rank. If you have any questions, make sure to drop them in the chat and I'll answer them here live. So they've got some great images. Google can read these images. So having these images with like tax, income tax, individual income tax on the page is great. The question is do they have alt text? So let's go and look at this. So right click inspect. And on the right side here, this is just allowing us, this is enabling us to see kind of the code kind of how this page is being constructed. And right here, can I zoom in? Make this bigger for y'all? Will it let me? Right here, it just says brand logo. So they only have 2 words in this alt text for this image. And it's not only just this image. I know this is a little hard to see, but it's for all of these. This little carousel right here, all it has is 2 words in alt text for each of these. They could very easily get the brand name of these logos, like QuickBooks, in the alt text of the image. So when we think about QuickBooks, QuickBooks is associated with CPAs. Google is going to come by and crawl this page and see, oh, there's QuickBook references on this. This is more relational or more relevant to these associations or these keywords or ideas or entities, right? So when we think about that, what does that mean? That means these alt texts, the alt text currently on these images is more relevant, these keywords, not just CPAs, right? Because QuickBooks is also for bookkeeping. So what you're doing is you're linking or you're being more relevant to bookkeeping, to CPAs, to these other entities that Google knows about. And not only that, what you could also do is you could just get some keywords or entities or LSI terms in this alt text, right? This is just another free location or a free advertising space for us to get more of our SEO on page. This page looks a little light on content. I'm going to look at the keyword count. So we're at 789 words, which is, it's okay. I would say it's a little low. So this is pretty much a very flat site. So what if we go to blog, what's happening on their blog? Okay. So just looking over their blog, seeing what they're currently doing, just seeing how they kind of have the site structured, the site set up. So this is all of their blogs. Okay. Did I misread this? New tax law as of teen. Okay, so this is like a newsletter link, but when I click it, I'm taken to this, and then I'm given this. We are currently looking over a CPA's website, just kind of seeing what they've got going on. What are they doing to rank their website? Something that I think they could definitely do is have a author card on these blogs. Also, these blogs are really light in content. What's the word count on this? Only 473 words on this page, which is pretty light. And it does not look like they have any external or they don't have any internal links linking anywhere. So they kind of just have this blog sitting here doing nothing. Like it's helping with relevance. Oh, nope. There we go. There's a link. So there's one link to their homepage for the anchor text accounting, which is great. Let's see if there's any more. I'm not sure why they're linking to the homepage. I would rather link to a specific service page. But it looks like their main goal, it looks like all of their internal linking is linking back to the homepage. So that might be the goal for their whoever has set the site up. So something else that I'm noticing that kind of just caught my eye is that on their homepage, they have a link to this Google Business Profile. So since their homepage is linking to this, what's interesting is that on this blog, they're linking to a different Google Business Profile, another Google Business Profile that's not theirs. So what I also want to see is where are these located relative to their location? So this is their location. Okay, so where is this? So this is pretty close to their location. Where is this other one? It's pretty close as well. I'm not sure why they're doing this. Okay, so we got a we got a question in chat. Since they are YMYL type of company, what are the main factors you look for what you look at for establishing authority aside from author pieces? Since they are YMYL, what does YMYL mean? Your money or your life? Since they are a your money, your life type of company, what are the main factors you look at for establishing authority aside from author pieces? For establishing authority. So the first thing that I would consider with that is, let's go look at their about page. Our approach, our team. So the first thing is on their site for their about page or our team page, what I would clearly have on here is images of the staff, who currently works there, what is their education, what do they know about, right? I would very clearly and distinctly build out these pages, get multiple images of them and their staff members, rather individual staff members, right? When you go to do this, you don't have to have it to where it's displayed like this, right? As an example, what you can do is what I've done here on this site, on your about team or your about page or your individual members, when you click this behind this image, so unless this is clicked, no one knows about it, but Google can see it in the code. I have clear information more about my team members, about the people that are working for my company, right? So I would clearly do this here. I would have it more hidden, kind of like an FAQ accordion, right? An example of this is, I don't have it on the site, but an example would be in the accordion, once clicked, then there's a drop down with more text about this person. I would also have some sameAs links in the schema. So in the schema, what you're going to want to do is you're going to list off your individual team members, the people that are working for your company, clearly distinctly put their name. Then in the sameAs, you're going to want to link to their social profiles. So I would assume for a CPA, they're more likely to have their links to their LinkedIn, to their Twitter, their Facebook, what have you. Also, in the schema, you're going to want to put alumni of. So what that does is it tells Google in the schema JSON LD, right? They've graduated from this school with this degree, this location, this year. Description, you're going to talk way more about them, right? We're basically trying to build out an entity card about this person. Who are they, what they do, what do they know about? Then also, you can link to outside sources like Wikipedia, right? So what you could easily do is you can start linking to Wikipedia URLs. What you're going to do is knows about schema. In your knows about schema, you're going to clearly link to these other URLs, these other sources of information, these other entities that Google is aware of. You're also going to want to take some time and to find the Google Knowledge Graph IDs or the freebase IDs that are also tied to these rather like knowledge graph links, or basically these codes that when you link to them, Google then knows, okay, so they know about this links to this knowledge graph node that we're aware of and we have all of our own information about. As an example, just basically think about linking to this. You're linking to a Wikipedia article, right? Google knows all of this information already, and so we are making this relevant to that person, saying that they know about that, right? So then what else are we gonna do? So this is another link. This is another source of information, source of relevance, right? That you can use to link at in the schema. And a majority of the times you can find the Google Knowledge Graph ID right here. You see this? So this is something else you would want to link to. When you link to it, you do not want to just link to this. You want to link to the URL. So notice when I click it, it takes me to /search ? And then it puts the Google Knowledge Graph ID equals whatever have you, right? And you can see that when I click this link, I'm taken to this Google page. You can even see in the AI overview, Google already knows a ton of information about this, right? So that's something else I would do. The other thing is, so on their blogs, right? What you're going to want to do, I think I did it on this site. On your blogs, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to tie this relevant, authoritative content, right? Authoritative. It's relevant. It's more information about the things you know about the services that you offer. It's more information for Google to have an understanding, right? What you're going to want to do is you're going to have these author cards that links all of this relevant information to a person on your team or just the owner. If you want to make it really simple and easy, link these blogs to the owner, right? You can see right here, I have this linked to the owner of this company. So from all of these blogs, what we can see is that these are all being attached to that person. We're trying to build that entity that, like, how do I want to say this? That source of information for Google to go, okay, this person wrote all these blogs are about all this information, and then knows about there's links to all of these external sources of information that are all relevant, right? Then what else would I do? The other thing I would do is you're going to want relevant links. So a site that is talking about something very similar to your service, rather horizontally. Maybe you can think like, well, I would think probably bookkeeping is a tier lower, but either way. So let's just think about bookkeeping, right? For a link from a bookkeeping site with relevant content. In the relevant content, you're going to want the anchor text rather to link to the site, right? So that's another way you can think about doing it, is that you have all these external links from relevant sites all linking back to your site, or linking back to your site with like the anchor text of your name. Or what I would prefer is that it's your brand name, if that makes sense. So as an example, that name's a little hard. So Reyes Injury Law would be the anchor text from a law blog to my site. And then it would also want mentions of my name in that blog content. So could you clarify what you mean by, is that a thing? I think you're asking, is that something that is possible? And yes, it is. I would definitely have the license number on page. Even just outside of being a CPA, you're going to want your license number. I think that answers your question. The answer is yes. You want the license number on there. And also, if you have insurance, you want to talk about being insured. If you're bonded, now I'm not saying, now if you're not doing this is for if you're doing like maybe a different type of business, like if you're doing like a flooring contractor or what have you, right? You're also going to want to have that information on the site, license number in the footer. You can do it in the footer. You can do it in the section on the our team, right? You can do it on that page as well. Like right here, you can talk about, oh, we're licensed, we have this license, what have you. You can also put it in your schema as well. And then what else? Yeah, you can do it in the footer. It doesn't hurt to have multiple instances of it occurring across your site. Can you repeat the last part of the schema again? No, just because I don't know what you're referring to, but this is recorded. So after I end the stream, or you can even do it right now, you can rewind and re-listen to this. Also, just so you know, if you're not currently aware, I am launching a school community to where once a week I will do something very similar to this, to where you can rather queue up your questions that you would like to ask, or you can do them live, what have you, right? The first 7 days are free, and then after that, it is $30 monthly. I'm also going to be posting some content that is not going to be posted elsewhere that you can come and read. My plan with this is kind of like build this out, rather so people can come and ask questions, people can talk about what they're currently struggling with, and I can help walk them through this. Or if you're like, Chris, this doesn't really interest me, I would rather have something a little bit more elevated. I do offer consulting, just DM me. Or if you'd rather just do done for you SEO services, I do also offer that. Just DM me like what you're looking for, or if you have more questions. So let's see. I would like to link to your law websites from my law websites. Just DM me. I'm not sure what you mean by that. Include some like clarification, some context, because I don't know what you currently know. Again, guys, so what we're doing is we are searching keywords in Google and we are seeing what is currently ranking, what is currently occurring in search, right? What is Google doing right now? What are the sites currently ranking doing? Like, what are they doing to their sites? What's occurring on their sites? What's occurring on their Google Business Profile, right? If you want me to look over your site or your Google Business Profile, go ahead and link it in chat and I will. Or if you just have any general questions, like asking for how to get your site with authority, drop them in chat. So this is super weird to me. So I'm not sure if this is a play or what have you that I'm just not aware of. Again, a different place that they're linking to. Yeah, I don't know what they're doing here. On their main homepage, they have a Google Business Profile embedded, but it's not linking to their Google Business Profile. It's linking to a different Google Business Profile. The only thing that's positive about this is that they're linking to profiles in Colorado around them. I'm just not sure what the play is here. I don't know why they're doing this or if this is intentional at all. But already from 3 different pages, I have 3 different Google Business Profiles being linked to. Let's go to their tax accountant page and let's click this. No, okay. So there is what would you say? Like there is a commonality. So they are linking to the same profile a few times. So let's go look at this one. Okay, so this has occurred twice. They're linking to the same profiles. Let's see what happens when we go to their our team page. Click this. Yep, okay, so there is a commonality. It's not just all of these different pages are linking to different profiles. Yeah, so again here, they're linking to Choice Health. Okay, so that is interesting. So we're gonna go to their tax organizer page. Again, okay, linking to the same page, but still just not linking to their own. So they've got a link to a PDF. Okay. So let's just take their site. Let's do the site : command in Google and let's just hit enter. Let's see how many pages they have indexed. So a quick and dirty way to do this is you do site : command and then you do the domain, right? I like to remove the HTTPS, the // what have you. Go to tools and then right here about 44 results. Now this isn't a guarantee. This is how many pages Google has indexed, but this is like a really quick and dirty, easy way just to figure out, okay, what is currently occurring? And then compare it to how many URLs you think you have. Something that I recently just did was an audit. And what I found by doing the site : command in search is that they had, I think it was 650 pages indexed in Google currently, but they were only aware of 200 pages. So where are those additional 400 pages coming from, right? And sometimes what it can be is a URL parameter like pagination occurring. And what I mean by that is on their blog, what happens is that you'll have pagination, right? You'll have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And when you click those, what's happening is that you're creating a new URL. You'll have your domain /blog /?. So what can occur is, let's say you have 6 pages of blog content. Well, now you have 7 additional URLs. So you have the /blog, you have the /blog, the 3, 4, 5, 6, right? And you can also even have 1 sometimes. Sometimes when you click page 1, it will create a new URL, right? And you have 7 URLs for no reason. And the only thing that is occurring on these pages is links to your blogs. So there's we have to think from Google's point of view, right? Google doesn't have the context that this is a pagination. All Google sees is that this is a URL. On this URL, there are links to all of these pages. That's all it sees. It doesn't have the understanding that this is from a pagination URL creation, right? So all of a sudden now we have 6 or 7 additional pages that are all thin, light content that are not going to help, right? So we've done the site colon command. We've looked at, we got 44 results. What we're going to do is we're just going to see what is being indexed. So they have a important links page. This is interesting. They have links to these pages. This is fascinating to me because I do not know why they would do this. Is that the same one? Yeah, it is the same one. Okay, so they just have a page that links to important links. Personally, I have no idea why they're doing this. Okay, so we're going to go back to seeing what is currently indexed by them. We're just looking through these. Account and servicing. So they got subscribe to their newsletter. Yeah, so like there's not, you just have a random page indexed in Google. This isn't helping you. Okay, let's look at their other things that they've got occurring. Testimonials. So they have individual testimonial pages. Okay, so again, we just have a random page. It says blog. It says the name of the company, the date, but there's no content on this page. There is nothing on this page for Google, even for me. Like, what is this? Why do we have these testimonials? And look at it. Okay, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 testimonial pages. So of their 40 index pages, 4 of them are just random testimonials with light content and no purpose at all. What I'm really curious is that, let's take this away. Let's go to testimonial. So I get a 404. What happens if I add the backslash? I'm still getting a 404. Okay, so let's go to their sitemap, XML. See if they have a sitemap. They have a sitemap. Okay, so they've got testimonials. Oh, okay. Alrighty. So again, guys, what the goal is here, we are searching CPA in Denver, Colorado. We are looking in Google. What is currently ranking? We're going to try to figure out like why it's ranking. Is Google changing the search results? Is there anything new that we can discover? What are people currently doing to their Google business profile? What are people doing to their website? What can we learn to apply to our sites? What can we also learn to not apply to our sites, right? Okay. Also, if you have any questions, drop them in chat. If you have a website or a Google business profile that you would like me to look at, link it down in chat and I will look at it for you. So we are currently looking at this CPA's site. We are looking at their testimonials because in search, we did a site colon command and we found that Google has indexed their testimonials. We looked at the testimonials and there is essentially no content on these pages. There's a name, there's a date, there's a form fill out, but there's essentially nothing else. Let me look at the, there's 115 words on this page and like there's just nothing here. Okay, this is not only just you're bloating your site with additional URLs that aren't helping you in any way, and you're also wasting your crawl budget. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to look at their testimonials. Is this only occurring once or is this occurring across all of the testimonials, right? Well, I just want to make sure maybe the page that I found was a fluke, but there's 1, there's 2 that's exactly the same, 3 that's exactly the same, got 5, 6. Okay, I'm going to stop scrolling. Okay, so we just have all of these testimonial pages with 0 content on them. There's really no point of these existing. And also, I think this is a 4. No, what did I misspell it earlier? Interesting. So you have a testimonials hub, linking to all of these pages. So not only do you have all of these testimonial pages, which are just low content, have no purpose, serve no purpose, waste your crawl budget, etc., but you also have a hub, which is just linking to all of them as well, which is just another URL. Okay, so let's see if there's anything else. So we've got an author page with links to the blog. Okay, not sure why that's happening. We're gonna go look at their category sitemap. So they've got a random URL slash uncategorized. So again, just URL bloat for no reason. You already have a blog hub. I'm not sure what the purpose of this additional page is. I mean, maybe it's helping with crawl rate, getting certain blogs crawled. Page. Actually, what is that? Is that a sitemap? This I actually really like doing. So what this does is we're giving Google additional locations for it to get all of the URLs on our site. What this does is it helps Google discover all the pages you have on your site, because not only do you have a XML sitemap, but then you also have an HTML sitemap. I think this is great. And then also the anchor text that they're using is great. So we're gonna go back here and we're just we're looking at their sitemap, seeing what they've currently got going on. So they have these random URLs, 6097-2. Actually, it might be random to me, but it's probably some tax code or something. So it's actually probably relevant and makes sense. I think that's enough. Looking over stuff today, we're already at, let's see, an hour and 10 minutes. So just a quick thank you to everybody. Again, I do have a school community that I'm currently forming. What this is that very similar to this call or this stream here is once a week, Friday at 2 p.m., I will do a live stream. This is a chance for you to ask questions on what you're currently struggling with. Or if you want, you can link your Google Business Profile or your website, and I will go over it live with everybody. This is also where I'm going to be posting content that I'm not posting anywhere else, so it's exclusive to this school community. Maybe some tests that I currently have going on, currently what I'm seeing in Google search, and I'm going to link it in chat. The first 7 days are free. Then after those 7 days, it is $30 a month. And again, once a week, there will be a live stream very similar to this, where I will answer specifically just your questions and look over the things that you're currently struggling with or need help with, right? If you are looking for done-for-you SEO services, direct message me, Audit, with a link to your Google Business Profile, and I will look over it for you and get you scheduled a call with me. All right. I hope you all have a great day.